What are the three most important questions in life? Well, the first one is, who am I? You are answering this question with everything you're thinking, being, doing, saying, with every decision and choice you make. This question defines who you are and how you show up in your life. Your entire earthly existence is defined by this one question. This question answers every other question you have. So asking, who am I, will help you to understand every choice that you want to make in your life by simply answering the question, who am I, within regards to anything that you want to choose and decide in your life. And of course, this is the reason you're here, to answer this one question. Your soul incarnated into this physical body to fulfill an experience in the physical realm. The reason you came here was to answer the one question of, who am I? And your entire life lived creates the fulfillment of that question. You're here to make real who you are within the realm of physicality. Your soul incarnated from the spirit realm with an idea about what it wanted to experience in the physical, and it came into physicality to know itself as an experience. And the question, who am I, is the definition that you're creating in every moment in fulfillment of that question. Your life lived is the answer to this question, who am I? Consider this question deeply, for it determines your entire life experience, and it allows you to be who you are. From concept to creation, from idea to experience. Your idea of who you are will be what your life becomes. All identity is subjective. You can literally identify with anything. You can identify with anything in the physical, the mental, and then also the spiritual. All persona is simply identification with something. And in asking this question, who am I, you can start to disidentify with perhaps unconscious identification that you've created. And you'll slowly move from disidentifying with the physical realm, then disidentifying with the mental, and then identifying with the spiritual. That's kind of the process that works here. And as you kind of grow and evolve, you'll see that your current level of identification will shift and change in terms of who you understand yourself to be. At first, all identification is with the physical, the pre-rational level of human development. The next stage is the rational, the mental realm of human development. And the third is the trans-rational, the spiritual realm of human development. And moving up these three levels of human development, you'll be able to understand how identification with things kind of creates who you are. And as you move up these three stages of human development, you'll be able to understand that what you once identified with can be like something that you no longer identify with, and that's the process of growth that happens within human beings. So what you identify with at a certain age, and then disidentifying with that, and then identifying with something else, something different, at perhaps a higher level. That's how growth occurs within the human physiology, psychology, and spirituality. Slowly disidentifying with form moves you to the level of the formless. So form can be considered all that's physical and mental. We have three aspects to our being: body, mind, and spirit. And we are always body, mind, and spirit at all times. Our body and mind simply shift and change when we move on to the other side. But when you enter the world, you start identifying with the physical first. And then slowly the mental begins to become part of your perception. And then eventually, if you follow through with meditation techniques and spiritual development practices, you can disidentify with the form, with body and mind, and then re-identify with spirit. And spirit is the formless. And as your perception of life increases and you're moving up the three stages of human development from the pre-rational, the rational to the trans-rational, you'll notice that your identification with what you perceive as life shifts to higher levels. This question, who am I, can create immense change in who you are. If you're continually asking this question over and over for a period of days or weeks, you'll notice that your unconscious identification rises up and out of you, and you become consciously aware of it. You start to notice it. You consciously notice it that it's there, and then you have the chance to release those unconscious identifications and re-identify with new aspects of who you are. This question can create immense change in who you are. So it can do anything from helping you to quit smoking, changing your diet, your sleeping patterns, how you treat people and the world, and how you move through personal development, and how you relate to yourself. Any part of your life can change with this simple question, and in answering this question consciously, you will be able to create new states of identification with life, and in that you'll be able to move up the levels of human development. When you define who you are and follow through with that in your expression, that's when you're creating deep change. This question is the fundamental basis of all questions that you will be answering in this lifetime. Being unconscious of this question creates mundane life experiences, and you'll be creating your life unconsciously. You'll be answering the question, who am I, unconsciously, if you're not being conscious of this process of answering this question. And being conscious of this question and utilizing it and using it as a tool to create who you are, this will help you create an inspiring life. You'll be creating inspiring life experiences through consciously answering this question. As a practice, continually ask this question throughout each day. So begin asking it in all moments of your life. And it can be like a meditation. You can ask this question when you're doing tasks, or when you're sitting on the bus, or when you're doing the dishes, and you can ask this question continually and see what comes up for you and what you're consciously noticing that's in answer to this question. If you don't have an answer to this question, continually ask this question to yourself over a period of time. Ask it over the next week, every day over the next week, and continually ask this question. And you'll notice that as those unconscious answers to this question come up and out of you, you'll start to decipher a deeper state of who you are and who you want to become. Answering this question will help you know who you are and why you're here and who you want to become in this lifetime. Your entire life is based around this question, and everything that you answer in relation to this question is how your life will change for you in terms of your experience. I suggest asking this question to yourself continually until you're crystal clear on who you are. This is the method of self-realization, of realizing the self. And potentially answering this question is the pathway that you'll take towards defining who you are in this lifetime. And the answer to this question can change in any moment. So when you touch down into who you are, you'll be able to understand perhaps why, the reason you are here. You can also change deeply held beliefs with this question. So asking this question to yourself and realizing that perhaps something you have identified with is not who you are now, that will help you re-identify with new forms or with the formless, and that will be able to shift your perception to higher levels. And continually asking this question at any time of the day, or perhaps when in deep meditation, you'll be able to construct the image of who you are. And that image is what you'll be projecting out into the world. It's good to be mindful of who you are, and it's good to be aware of what you've inherited from your physical lifetime here, and what perhaps is unconscious identification that you've created. And in continually asking this question, you'll go deeper down into who you truly are, and moving from the body identification, the mind identification, to the soul identification. As you go deeper down into who you are, you'll raise up those levels, and you'll eventually identify with yourself as a soul. And the only reason you'll change anything in your life is because you no longer identify with that, and that's not who you are anymore. And the new changes you make will be identifying with who you are now and who you truly want to be. All breakthroughs you have in your life on an inner and personal level are disidentification with something and re-identification with something else. And this process of inner and personal breakthroughs is the process of shedding and letting go of things that you no longer identify with, and things that you are now identifying with on perhaps a higher level or a deeper level. On the level of belief, all beliefs are simply identifications. Any belief you have, you can ask yourself, is this who I really am? And that answer will determine if you continue with that belief or if you want to let it go. Getting very clear on who you are will determine the outcome of your life. And your life is essentially a message to everyone else on the planet. You'll notice that we're all messengers. We're all angels. The term angel is in the olden language is messenger. So angel means messenger. We're all messengers, and your life lived is your message to the world, to everyone else that is in your life. And becoming crystal clear and going deeply within and inquiring into this question of who am I is perhaps the single most important thing you can do in your life to create who you are. And once you are crystal clear on this question, you'll notice that you are moving into a state of realizing the self. And realizing the self is vitally important. It is self-realization that is the desire of life, of God. And it's also your desire as a soul. And that's why you came here, you incarnated here to experience this realm. The very reason you are living this life is to realize the self. And some people are doing this unconsciously, others are doing this consciously. And the reason that we came here is to realize who we are, and to self-realize, and to make that an actual experience. And this question of who am I is the kind of fulcrum that can have you become consciously aware of who you are, and to be able to create that in this physical realm. And answering this first question helps you answer the second most important question in life, which is, what do I want here? Once you're clear on who you are and you have an understanding of who you are, an ideal vision of who you are, you can ask, what do I want here? So what do I want in this lifetime? What do I want to create? What do I want to fulfill? You can ask this in any level of life. You can ask, what do I want in my relationships? What do I want in my career? What do I want in my environment? This question is specifically very important in human relationships. And you can easily define what you want in a relationship by asking this question, what do I want here in this relationship with this other person? And this can determine the trajectory of your relationships. There's been a lot of teaching on the planet that in relationships you have to ask, what does the other person want here? And this just causes chaos in relationships. It puts all the emphasis on what the other is wanting, what they're having, what they're doing, what they're being, and it doesn't leave much room for yourself. So specifically in relationships, you'll want to ask, what do I want here? And put yourself first in all relationships. This question is highly important if you want to have fulfilling and rewarding relationships. And asking this question more often will lead to more fulfillment in your life. Asking this question in relationships and in life removes neediness and dysfunction. So you can see that all dysfunction in relationship essentially comes from neediness, jealousy, and expectation. But these are projections or ways of asking the question, what does the other want here? Whereas if you ask, what do I want here? In any relationship, you'll inevitably quite often get what you are wanting. And there may be a sense of detachment or non-attachment to what the other person is doing or being, or having or saying. But what I've found in my experience is that the more I ask, what do I want here in any relationships that I'm in, whether that's family, friends, romance, business, it helps me get what I want, which is, it's not selfish. It's kind of cooperating with other people, but you're using the fundamental aspect of the question of what do I want here to fulfill something for yourself. And in fulfilling things for yourself, you'll notice that you'll be fulfilling things that maybe the other person wants as well. And most of the time it seems to work out if you're answering this question in relationships. And on a higher level, if you're answering this question in life, what do I want here? You can become very clear on what you want your life to look like. And you can look at all areas of life and ask, what do I want here? What do I want in this life? This creates integrity and alignment with who you truly are. And that leads back to the first question, who am I? And answering these two questions, who am I and what do I want here? They're two of the most important questions you can ask yourself in this lifetime. And they kind of flow into each other. The third most important question in life, which comes from answering the first two, is where am I going and who's going with me? So in answering who am I and getting crystal clear on who you are, answering what do I want here in this life, in my relationships, and getting crystal clear on what you want in each relationship and within each area of your life, you can then answer the question, where am I going and who's going with me? When you have the direction of who you are and what you want in your life, you'll notice that there will be people who join you on that ride. And there will be people who follow you and co-create with you in this life. And these people, they come and go. But some people stay longer, some people don't stay as long. But in answering this question, where am I going and who's going with me, you'll be able to understand that not everyone will stay around forever. And that doesn't mean that a relationship has not fulfilled what it was meant to fulfill. A relationship is a kind of a synergistic energy exchange, and all of life is a synergistic energy exchange. And within relationships, you'll notice that as you are living through that relationship with someone and co-creating something with someone, that however that relationship turns out will determine where you and that other person are going in your lives. And this other question, it leaves it up to other people who are joining you in your life. And if someone chooses to leave, then that's okay. You will want to give them the grace of free will and allow them to go on their own journey and to fulfill the answers to their own questions of who am I and what do I want here and who is going with me. And if someone does choose to leave you, simply ask the question, what do I want here? Given this current situation, what do I want in this lifetime? And what do I want moving forward? If a relationship has ended or if it's still continuing, you can simply continue to ask this question, where am I going and who's going with me? And you'll find that you might enjoy who's going with you a lot more, and you can easily let go of who's not going with you in this lifetime. And a part of that is to respect their choice and to resolve any inner need or attachment to have that person in your life. And what I found is that that sense of attachment is usually something that's within you that's unresolved. So possibly a repressed emotion or something that you've not fully expressed out of you, and it is holding attachment to another person. So doing that deep inner work of expressing your emotions is highly important to move to a state of non-attachment and a state of neediness. Sorry, a state of needlessness. If someone chooses to leave, let them go and respect their choice and resolve any inner attachment you have to this person. If they truly want to go, then give them the grace of free will. You can also say to them, I want for you what you want for you. And this is a very loving thing to say to someone, because you're allowing them to fulfill what they truly desire in their life, and you're not coming from a place of neediness and attachment to them. You're coming from that place of needlessness and non-attachment to people and the world at large. And that is honouring free will, saying, I want for you what you want for you. So a good practice is to write down your answers to these three questions. The first one is, who am I? The second one is, what do I want here? And the third one is, where am I going and who's going with me? And the process of writing these questions down and then answering them on paper can help you kind of understand what you're truly wanting to create with your life. And once you've written down answers to these questions that you feel that really resonate with you and they feel like the fulfillment of who you want to become, you can write your grandest vision down. So your grandest vision is the grandest vision that you can possibly have for your life. And you can, out of that, you can make a plan for yourself, and you can move into the full expression and fulfillment of who you truly are. And you can potentially move to those levels of self-realization, of realizing the self within your own experience. And your grandest vision is the most highest expression you can reach for in life. So make it as grand as you want, and kind of feel into how that feels for you when you've got that plan and that vision written down. And be honest with yourself about this vision and be sincere with it too. So the practice from this video is to write down the three questions: who am I, what do I want here, and where am I going and who is going with me? And to continue to ask those three questions until you have answers that truly resonate with you. The first question, who am I, will change over time as you naturally evolve and grow. And the other two questions, what do I want here and where am I going and who is going with me, will also change over time. And in answering these questions, you can get to a level where you know who you truly are and who you want to become and what you truly want in your life. And you can let others enjoy the journey with you as you travel along this path in life and move to those levels of self-expression. And the best thing to do is answer these questions in order. So start with who am I and get very crystal clear on that. Then you'll have an easier time answering what do I want here. And then from those two questions onward, you'll have an easier answer to the question, where am I going and who is going with me? And if you'd like to get help with these questions, I do spirituality coaching. I'll leave my landing page link in the description below the video. And I wish you all the best in life, and may your questions become your empowerment.